Hi there, I'm Jane and this is Loopy Mabel Vintage Style. In today's tutorial it's going to be a crochet tutorial and I'm going to show you how to crochet your very own baby pixie bonnet. And if you want to follow along with me in the tutorial, all you're going to need is a 4.5mm hook, some double knit yarn, and I shall see you in a moment. So welcome back, and before we go on to the tutorial I just wanted to explain what Mabel the mannequin is wearing today, if you're wondering. She is wearing my latest handmade dressmaking project, which is the Wilder gown, which is a pattern by the Friday Pattern Company. And I've got a vlog for that, so if you wanted to watch the vlog where I'm talking about how I made this lovely pattern, I'll put the link for that up there somewhere. I've also paired it with my lacy neck shawl, and there's a full crochet tutorial for this too, and I think that goes quite nicely. I just wanted to show you what it looks like on an outfit, so I've added that too to give you an idea. And I've also added my bobble heart patch pocket, which I've just pinned in place, and I think I quite like that on there, and I've just got to sew that on. But there's also a tutorial on the patch pocket if you wanted to make your own patch pockets and add them to your outfits, and I'll put the link for that up there too. I'll also put all the links to in the description box below. Let's get on to the tutorial. Right, so in today's tutorial I'm going to be covering my poppy pixie bonnet, which is such a sweet little bonnet to make. Slight variation on the traditional style bonnet with the pixie point at the back. So I'm going to be doing this for you today. You can get this pattern, which can be downloaded, in my shop, so I will put the link for the pattern if you'd like to download it too in the description box below. We're also going to be using today, I'm going to be using a 4.5mm hook. This is my hook set. If you wonder what hooks I use, I like to use this Tulip Etimo hook set, and I'm going to be using the 4.5mm hook today. I'll also put the link for everything that I use in the description box, so if you're looking for an item that you haven't got, I'll put the links for them, and you can then click those links and they'll take you straight to those items. It doesn't cost you anything to click on those links, as I've said before, and if you do decide to buy, there's no pressure. If you do decide to buy, then I will just get a small commission if you do buy something, so it's just so you know. So I'm going to be using the 4.5mm hook, my scissors. Stitch markers are useful to have if you're new to crochet too, and I'm going to be using Drops Lima double knit yarn. This is a wool and alpaca blend, but you can use any double knit yarn, and obviously if you follow the stitch gauge in the pattern you can use any double knit yarn. So let's begin. So for this tutorial I'm going to be doing the size 0 to 3 months. So we're going to start off with a slip knot. So you just make your slip knot whichever way you're comfortable with. And we're going to chain 56. So yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. Just continue making your chains like this until you have 56 in total. So I shall see you when you've got 56 chains. 54, 55 and 56. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down into the 4th chain from our hook. So you're going to count your chains from here. So count back 4 chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're going to insert your hook into that 4th chain, and we're going to work 2 trebles, chain 1 and a treble into that 4th chain. So 1, 2, 3, 4, yarn over, insert your hook into that 4th chain and work 2 trebles, which is yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, and again yarn over, back down into that same stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. So we've got 2 trebles, chain 1 and then 1 more treble, so yarn over, back down into that same stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. So you now should have your 3 chains that we did at the beginning, which is going to count as a treble, the 2 trebles that we did, the chain 1 and then the treble. And then we're going to skip 3. So 1, 2, 3, we're going to skip 3 chains. And then into the next chain, so the 4th chain, we're going to do 3 trebles, a chain 1 and a treble. Yeah, so just before I continue, this tutorial is in UK terms, so if you're watching from the US, you just need to be aware of that. When I mention treble, it would be double crochet, and when I mention double crochet, it would be single crochet. Right, so we're just going to skip the next 3 chains. So 1, 2, 3, we're going to go down into that 4th chain and we're going to work 3 trebles, a chain 1 and a treble. So yarn over, 1, 2, 3 into that 4th chain, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's your first treble, yarn over again, down into that same stitch and work another treble. And then yarn over, down again into that same stitch, work another treble. So you've got 3 trebles, then we're going to chain 1 and then we're going to work 1 more treble into that very same stitch. And it should look something like this. And we're just going to continue on like this all the way along. So we're going to skip 3. So 1, 2, 3 into the 4th, we're going to do 3 trebles, chain 1 and a treble. One, 2, 3, chain 1 and treble. So you're forming pretty little clusters of 3 trebles, chain 1 and a treble. So that is your cluster there. I'm going to group them all together and call them like a cluster. So what we're going to do is work all the way along, skip 3, do your cluster, skip 3, do your cluster, all the way along. And I shall see you somewhere around about here and I'll show you how to finish off this row. So hopefully you've got to the end of your row okay. It should look something like this with these pretty clusters all the way along, and you should have 13 clusters and you should have 4 chains left. So we're going to skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and in that last chain we're just going to work a treble. So yarn over, insert your hook into that last chain there and work a treble like so. And we're going to chain 1 and turn, and that chain 1 does not count as a stitch throughout. So row 2, we're going to treble into that very first stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook, and we treble into that first stitch, and then we're going to be working into that chain space in the cluster. So that space we created when we did 3 trebles, a chain 1 and a treble, we're going to be working into that space there. So we're going to go down into that space and we're just going to do the same again. So it's going to be 3 trebles, 1, 2, 3 trebles, chain 1 and a treble. Into that space. And we're just going to repeat this all the way along. So down into the next space and work 3 trebles, chain 1 and another treble. we're just going to do this all the way along, working into that chain space. So we'll be working our cluster, which is 3 trebles, chain 1, a treble, into every chain space, and I shall see you somewhere towards the end, and I'll show you how to finish off this row and how we continue on with the rest of the Pixie Bonnet. So I've just got a couple more cluster sets to do, so just going to insert my hook and work the last few stitches. So it's 3 trebles, chain 1, treble, and into that last space we've got there, work our last set of 3 trebles, chain 1 and treble, chain 1 and treble, and we're just going to finish the row off by adding a treble into that first 3 chains that we did at the very beginning when we went down into our 4th chain from our hook. It left us with the 3 chains, which counts as a treble, and we're going to insert our hook into that top 3rd chain. So 1, 2, 3, you can see that chain there. So we're just going to insert our hook and work a treble into that top of that chain 3. So 1, I've got the treble there, and that just finishes off that 2nd row. And basically all we're going to do now is repeat this row over and over until we have completed 11 rows in total. So I'll show you how we turn on this row. So again, just to chain 1 and turn, and that chain 1 does not count as a stitch. And we're going to go down into that very first stitch where we've just made that treble, and we're going to work a treble, like so. And if it helps you to use the stitch markers, this is where you place your stitch markers at the beginning of each row. When you've done your first treble, insert your stitch marker, and then when you're coming back along this row you can see where to insert your hook if you need visual help, that is. And then we're just going to work along. So we're just going to work in every chain space like the row below. So 3 trebles, chain 1, 3 trebles. So I'll just start you off onto this row. So 1 treble, 2 and 3, chain 1 and 1 more treble. And we're just going to repeat that all the way along in every chain space. So into every chain space, and you'll just zoom in so you can see exactly close up. So I'll just take my hook. So we're going to work into every chain space, and we're going to work 3 trebles, chain 1, treble, then moving on to the next chain space, 3 trebles, chain 1, treble, and we're going to do that all the way along. We're not inserting our hook into there, it's got to be in the space where we did the chain 1, 3 trebles, chain 1, treble, into that space. So don't be tempted to insert your hook into there or the pattern won't work. So make sure your hook goes into that chain 1 space, and we're just going to work all the way along, and when we come to the end we do our last 3 trebles, chain 1, treble, and then finish off with a treble into the top of that first stitch. And again, if you have your stitch markers in, if you put them in at the beginning of every row, you'll always have the stitch marker there, and you'll see where to insert your hook to do that final treble if you need visual help. And I shall see you when you have 11 rows in total, and I shall see you somewhere towards the end of the 11th row, and I'll show you how to finish off, sew it together, and then add the ties. So I shall see you then. So I'm just at the end of this last row, so I just need to finish off my last 3 trebles, chain 1 and treble, and I'm just going to do my treble into that last stitch there, and that completes the 11 rows, and I'll just quickly measure it for you. So it should measure 14 centimeters and width was 36 centimeters. And we're just going to finish off here, so just going to cut the yarn and fasten off, and that completes the main part of the Pixie bonnet. So all we're going to do is fold over our bonnet, and we're going to stitch up the back here. So we're not stitching the scalloped edge, because that's going to be the edge that frames the face. We're going to stitch along the back, so it's the first row that we did, so it's straight edge. So if you're just wondering which edge do you sew, it's the straight edge. So just put them both together and take your darning needle, and you're just going to insert your needle. I'm just going to sew over that end, just over sew all the way to the top. So just over stitch all the way to the end, and just secure it with a couple of over stitches and thread your needle back down. Says Geordie there to the left of me, and then just trim off that excess. So there is the back of the Pixie bonnet, and when you turn it through, get that lovely seam there. And obviously you can add, obviously this one doesn't go, but you can add a pom-pom to that point there. So just going to add the ties now, really simple to do. So with the right side of the bonnet facing you now, and the bottom part, so the right side, there's your seam that we've just stitched up, and there's the inside. So you want the right side of the bonnet facing you, and we're just going to start off with a chain. So just going to make your slip knot again. I'm going to chain 42. 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 42. And with the front of your bonnet, with the front side, sorry, of your bonnet facing you, there's the seam going down the back. This is the bottom part of the bonnet. Just going to insert your hook along here and pick up some stitches. So just insert your hook and double crochet to attach, and we're just going to pick up evenly all the way along, and just pick up evenly. It doesn't have to be spot on, just so you're inserting your hook, working a double crochet or single crochet if you're watching from the US. Now if you pick up too many stitches, it's going to ripple, and if you pick up not enough, it's going to be quite tight. So it just evenly along. So just coming to the end, and probably just get one more in there. And now we've come to the other end, we're just going to chain 43. So chain 43. 4, 5, 6, 41, 42, 43. And we're going to go down into that second chain from our hook. So not the first one, the second one. Insert your hook and work double crochet, and we're going to go all the way back down this chain, working double crochet, which will then create our strap. So if you just insert your hook into every chain, work a double crochet or single crochet if you're watching from the US, all the way down, and then again picking up double crochets in all the double crochets that you've picked up along here, all the way along, and then continue all the way along the second tie right to the very end, and I shall see you somewhere around about here for us to fasten off. So I've just got to the end of this second tie, so I've just got a couple more double crochets, and there we go. Just going to trim the yarn, pull it through, and then all you do to finish off is sew in your ends. So there you go, there's our Pixie bonnet, and you can obviously finish it off with a pom-pom on the point there, or leave it off. It's entirely up to you. All the instructions, as I say, are in the PDF pattern. There's our Pixie bonnet. So I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial on how to make our little Pixie style bonnet. There's the one we made in the tutorial in the green. I just love that little pixie point on the bonnet, and we made in the tutorial 0 to 3 months, but you can get the PDF pattern, which you can download for a few pennies in my pattern shop. I'll put the link for that too in the box below, and it covers up to 7 sizes, so it goes from newborn all the way up to, I think it's age 10. So there's lots of sizes in that pattern too if you wanted to download it. But if you did like this video and this tutorial, please don't forget to give me that lovely thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, what you're waiting for? If you love crochet, love sewing with a bit of vintage style thrown in, then please subscribe, and then you'll never miss out on any video that I do bring out. I absolutely love this style bonnet, and there's also my other bonnet, which is more the traditional style, the bell bonnet, and there's a full tutorial too as well, and I'll put the link for that up there too. But that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed it. If you've got any questions relating to this tutorial, please don't forget to message me in the comments box below. I'll always get back to you and help you if I can. But until the next time, please take care and happy crochet!